here with us and for all the staff and joining us today. We are a month into the spring semester and only 100 days to graduation.
Oh.
Does that make everyone nervous or excited? I'm not sure. A little bit of both, probably. In fact, this evening, I'm sure Nate will talk to us about this and will tell us more later, but the Alumni Office is hosting their annual 100 Days to Graduation Party for our seniors, or what we like to call 100 Days Till the Tassel Turns here at CNU. And Nate, I know that you have a busy schedule today with the Alumni Society board meeting, so a little later, so feel free to step out as you need to. From signing day on Tuesday, where sophomores declare their major, to winter sports in full spring, to study abroad and job and internship fairs, the campus is alive with activity. Thanks to all of you who have already taken time out of your busy schedules to attend events this semester, and especially those who have helped with the legislative session. We had a great event in Richmond last week. I can't believe that was only last week. And I want to thank board members that attended. We were delighted to have a variety of legislators and their staff members join us, as well as the Secretary of Education, Amy Gadara, who was gracious enough to offer remarks, and the Governor's Chief of Staff, John Littell, who spent quite a bit of time with us that evening as well. I think it was a fantastic event, and we're already looking forward to next year. So with that, let's get the official business started. We will take the 2 sets of minutes that we have for approval in a block. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of the Board of Visitors regular meeting and retreat on November 7th through 8th, 2024? Do I have a motion to approve both minutes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion carries. The minutes are approved. Thank you. With that, I would like to call on President Kelly for his president's report.
Okay, thank you, Madam Rector, and good morning to everyone. As you know, as the Rector just mentioned, it's a busy time of year for all of us, but it's certainly a great time to be a captain. First, to all of our board members, thank you for your dedication and your continued commitment to CNU. We are blessed with an exceptional board, and I am inspired by your dedication and commitment to our university. I'm especially grateful for your engagement on our strategic compass. I believe it's a strategic plan that we have had a part in, and that your efforts will ensure it is a living document that guides our way forward into the next decade. I look forward to the committee outbriefs, and I will strive to hit the highlights and provide a presidential perspective on the opportunities and challenges we are all facing. There's much good news to share, and allow me to start there. Admissions is off to a record-breaking start. The engagement with first-time and college students for both in-state and out-of-state students continues to set a new record each and every day. Our engagement with transfer students is also on a record-breaking trajectory. This semester, in January, we enrolled 77 new transfer students, a 20% increase over last spring. That brings our new total transfer student for the current academic year to 259, which is the most in recent history. Graduate school numbers are not on the same pace for a variety of reasons, and we will ensure that we provide the needed attention in the coming months as we look at the tasks in our strategic compass to address graduate programs. Our CNU.edu website is one of the most important assets to our student recruitment efforts. Last week, we launched our newly refreshed homepage, our digital front door for students seeking admission, people seeking to join our team, and those wanting to know more about CNU. The refresh is ongoing, but the homepage is live, and the joint effort is, it's a joint effort between OCPR and our IT team, which is also being supported by consultation from EAB. With regards to capital projects, we just heard across the hall about the many projects underway during the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting this morning, and there's one project I'd like to highlight that is on the horizon at the Torgler Center. Thanks to generous private support, we are under contract to design the Waters Family Art Explorers Gallery. This permanent interactive space will provide engaging hands-on exhibits and experiences for children and families. The gallery is expected to open during the first half of 2026. From an academic affairs perspective, more honors are coming our way. 3 of our professors, Tarek Abdul Fattah, Sherman Lee, and Tim Presley, were honored as among the world's most influential scholars and scientists in a new edition of an annual ranking compiled by Stanford University. Stanford ranked all 3 among the top 2% of researchers globally based on their academic publications and citation metrics. The authors of the annual study analyzed the community of more than 6 million scientists worldwide. We are fortunate to have faculty who are engaged, approachable, and incredibly accomplished. The accreditation process is fully underway. I joined members of our team at SAC COC in Austin in December, and we will look to engage the board in the coming year as we ensure we are fully prepared for the accreditation process. As you know, we're also in the process of conducting a search for the next dean of the business school. We will ensure we stay connected as the search progresses. We have a robust candidate pool, and I'm looking forward to the candidate who will be able to build upon the exceptional legacy built by our current dean and captain for life, Alan Witt. And I will pause there for just a moment, ma'am. As we mentioned yesterday, we just received word from AACSB that we received full accreditation for our business school. And so we are very proud of that, and we thank Alan for leading the team and the faculty and staff through that effort.
It's really great. Alan, is Steve Witt here?
He was here earlier this morning.
He was here. Well, just on behalf of the board, I want to thank him so much for all of his leadership and efforts over the years. And I'm very excited.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good stuff. External relations. Last year was all about listening and learning, and now that Richard Long is on board and Tom Kramer's position has evolved to include more external engagement, I've been focusing on building relationships not only with legislatures and community members, but also alumni, donors, and other friends of the university. I've traveled to London, South Carolina, North Carolina, across the Commonwealth, and Washington, D.C., and we'll be headed to Florida in just a couple days. I'm honored to spread the word about our university and invite people to participate in the extraordinary things that are happening here at CNU. I ask for your continued support to connect Richard, me, and others on staff with those within your network who can be supporters of our university. I want to thank our rector for her support and guidance as we engage with legislators in Richmond and across the Commonwealth. I also appreciate the support of our board members that you have provided through your networks in Richmond and across the state. I've had the opportunity to engage in over 40 legislative visits in the past 9 months, meeting with the governor, a former governor, and leaders in both the Senate and the House. We are sharing the good news about CNU, and I'm confident our university is held in a very positive light by the administration and the legislature. I'd just like to pause for just a moment. You'll find at your place the fast facts for the 2025 General Assembly, and this has guided our discussions, and we've left that with each of the legislators that we've had the opportunity to meet. Thank you to our board members who were able to join us last week for the legislative reception. As the rector said, it was a great night. Turning to financial matters, we heard an update on the news in Richmond during the Finance Committee meeting this morning. However, I do want to highlight that the Real Estate Foundation has stepped up further for their university with an additional $1.25 million in support for renewable merit scholarships, research equipment, and presidential discretionary funds. While these funds are for the fiscal year, the Real Estate Foundation is looking to find ways to make those dollars recurring, and we are grateful for their support. These funds will directly support our efforts to yield an amazing class from the record number of applicants I mentioned previously. With a full semester under his belt, Richard and the advancement team are having a banner year. As we look to launch a campaign in the near future, advancement has been investing in infrastructure, automation, alumni engagement, and alumni giving. We have begun the implementation of regional engagement through athletics, holiday celebrations, and peer-to-peer meetings and events, and we are on par to have the best fundraising year since 2017. I'd ask you to all please mark your calendars for March 12th, which is CNU Day. We will start CNU Day with a Wednesday morning walk. It just happens to be on Wednesday. So I hope you join us at 6:30 in the morning at the fountain for a walk, and then we will finish up at the Alumni House for coffee and treats. We hope to have 100% participation from the board, not only in the Wednesday morning walk, but also in your donorship and support, and serve as lead volunteers for that effort. The Ferguson Center and Torgler Center continue to be beacons for our community. The Ferg has been on a record pace with sellout shows, and this weekend we'll be blessed with a performance by Yuha Wong. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You did.
Thank you. Considered by many to be among the finest pianists in the world, and today she's conducting a piano masterclass for students and invited guests, which is wonderful. In line with our strategic compass, the Ferguson Center is leaning into our community in new and exciting ways. We are now the home for the Peninsula Youth Orchestra. We host the Newport News Public Schools Citywide Music Festival, and we launched the Arts for All community concerts. As the Torgler Center continues to solidify its place in our community, it will be a critical component of our overall strategic compass. The current exhibition at the Torgler, Reflections, will close on February 23rd. Our newest exhibition, The Vessel Revisited, Fundamental Forms in Contemporary Ceramics will open to the public on March 15th. This is another original exhibition organized and curated by our Torgler staff under the leadership of Holly Coons. Finally, if you've not had the opportunity, I invite you to stop by the Torgler Center and see a new exhibit in the William Grace Community Gallery, Armor of God, The Art of Steve Prince. He is a master printmaker living in Williamsburg and affiliated with William and Mary. All of these efforts to engage and support our community are a precursor to our Arts for All Ball, which will be held on January 24th, 2026. And I ask you to mark your calendars now so you can plan to join us for what I know will be a special evening as we seek to ensure we provide our community with the best gifts possible through an Arts for All program. I look forward to the brief provided by Lee on our amazing athletic program. We continue to leverage athletics to share the broader CNU story. Over the last 2 weekends, we welcomed large crowds to the Freeman Center to cheer on our captains. We also welcomed donors, legislative representatives to showcase all the goodness that is CNU. We will continue to invite you to join us, and in the fall, we'll ask that our board join Angie and me in the President's Box for a football game. More details to follow. We also plan to join our men's basketball team in Barcelona, Spain in early August, and our football team as it heads to Vermont at the peak of leaf peeping season in October. I hope you'll consider joining us for one of these exciting trips to showcase CNU and build relationships with donors and friends. As I get ready to wrap up, I'd like to take a moment to highlight our student successes and our challenges. In December, we celebrated 185 graduates. We congratulated our first 4 community captains to graduate from CNU, 3 from Heritage High, and our first ever and achievable dream student to graduate from CNU. And by the way, they all graduated in 3.5 years. It was a great night in front of a full house and over 900 guests that tuned in online. My thanks to Christy, Brent, Lee, Keith, and Kelly for joining us for a wonderful evening. The December grad was such a great success, we have already booked December 2025. We remain at the top of the national rankings for internships and work-based learning experiences, a priority for our Commonwealth. Our Career Center received a $150,000 Chev capacity building grant for internships, and I'm delighted to share that our Career Center was recognized as one of the very best in the nation by Handshake, an organization that works with over 1,500 institutions to assist students with internships and job placement. We were ranked in the top 35 college career centers in the nation. So congratulations to Sarah Hopgood and her team. They're doing amazing work. While our students enjoyed many successes last semester, they also experienced significant challenges. There was nothing heavier than the loss of 2 of our first-year students, Kane Gerard and Quentin Easter. Our campus community continues to rally around each other and support those people closest to our 2 forever captains. But the loss of Caden and Quentin will be felt for quite some time. I thank the board for the continued support of our students. The challenges they face are real, and we will continue to engage with them on a personal level and walk with them as they navigate life's challenges and their college experience. Our students also continue to enjoy great success. Our PLP team took home top honors at the International Leadership Association Student Case Study in Chicago, the 10th year in a row that CNU students placed on the podium. Another group of students also participated in the recent TEDx CNU event, speaking on the pursuit of the common good, alongside faculty members and outside speakers, and even an Olympic bronze medal winner. You'll hear more about our amazing students from Boris during his committee report. Finally, I'd like to share a few takeaways from a recent conference I attended earlier this week in DC with EAB. I was joined by 35 college presidents for a 2-day workshop. We covered an array of topics pertinent to efforts across higher education and here at CNU. My 3 takeaways are this. EAB research states that parents' attitudes toward college are shifting from I want my student to attend the best college to I want them to attend the best college we can afford. Affordability is more and more prevalent. EAB also believes strongly that the current model of college accreditation will change under the current administration. As mentioned earlier, we are in our own accreditation cycle. Finally, it was affirming to learn we are in a good spot with regards to the things we are working on in our strategic compass and across our campus. As I listened to those things that some colleges and colleagues shared as revolutionary, I recognize that those are things that are already part of CNU's DNA. As I drove home yesterday, I was energized to return to campus It's actually, I drove home 2 days ago. I was here yesterday. As I drove home 2 days ago, I was energized to return to campus to continue the good work that we are engaged in, and I am confident that we remain anchored in excellence. Madam Rector, members of the board, thank you for indulging me with the opportunity to share my report, and I thank you and our entire board for your continued success. Now I turn the floor back.
Thank you so much, President Kelly, and thank you for sharing all of that great information. We have so much to be excited about, the recent accolades of our distinguished faculty, updates on your outreach and engagement with legislators and supporters of the university throughout Virginia and beyond, as well as some of the fantastic exhibitions at the Torgler and upcoming shows at the Ferguson. So it's a great time to be a captain and to be on campus. Thank you for all your work. Now I'd like to turn it over to our SGA president for her report, Ms. Mackenzie Harley.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Madam Rector, and welcome back to CNU for the spring semester. Students are definitely thrilled to be back on campus with high energy, engaging in Greek life recruitment, campus events, and warm days on the Great Lawn. Well, maybe just a few. Hopefully today's a little bit warmer. However, we also recognize that this is a hard time for students with academic and mental health concerns on the rise. The ebb and flow of the spring semester is a unique one that can bring many challenges to students who are feeling stressed about classes or the future of summer internships or jobs. The excitement of opportunities at CNU is one to be incredibly thankful for, but there is no doubt that the spring semester is a necessary time for support and outreach to students. The beginning of the spring semester is always my favorite time of the year because it's a time for reconnecting with others and reflecting on what has been and what is to come. So, the theme of my report today is going to be about reflection. Just last week, we had a statewide student leadership conference here on our campus. I had the opportunity to give a tour to several of the students presenting at that conference, representing a wide range of universities from across Virginia. Throughout the day, they experienced the beauty of our campus and were welcomed like a captain. It's moments like this that I reflect on how CNU can be an integral experience for all who visit. If I had to say so myself, I believe some of those students were so excited about our university that they even asked about being transfer students, but you did not hear that from me. And of course, our student activities such as the Spring Fest, the Captain's Ball, and our athletic games by amazing teams are always major highlights of every year. So yes, events that bring so much fun and joy to my classmates are important to reflect on. But even more important is our experience as students as a whole. The excitement of events and opportunities at our university are exceptional, but it's not what completes the CNU experience, it's the people. In my living room, to the classroom for my senior seminar, to the office of administrators like Kevin Hughes and Katie Johnston, the experience of CNU is built on relational connections. Take Nicole Lutz, for example. Nicole is a sophomore who has dreamed about being a cruise director since she was young. She started talking to the Career Center at CNU at the start of her freshman year, where they helped connect her to different internship opportunities. Every day, the Career Center welcomes several students in their doors, seeing everyone as a person and a human, not just a student number or an appointment. You'll find this norm here at CNU. One time, when Nicole visited, they encouraged her to talk to President Kelly during his office hours, as he may have connections in this industry due to the Coast Guard. Nicole decided to follow through on that advice and reached out to President Kelly, who was able to provide her a contact. In their conversation, just as the Career Center did, he listened to her intently, even in his busy schedule. As a result, she's been in contact with people helping her latch onto her dream that she's been having for so many years. It's moments like this that make CNU a place built on relationships. I mean, think about one alumni in your head. I bet if they were to share a story about their experience at CNU, it would center around at least one individual or relationship that made all the difference in their time here. Now, to continue to build on this theme of relationship building, I also think it's a good time to discuss the Strategic Compass and the student experience with it. The Strategic Compass is and was bringing our campus together in many ways, and one of those is through relationship building. Students, staff, faculty, alumni, and admin alike came together to develop thoughts about where our university could head, from connecting with each other on how to make our university a more inclusive place for all, to how to better develop our liberal learning curriculum. We came together to steer our institution ahead. Students felt included and understood that our university's future matters, and their input matters too, bridging conversations between so many captains. I'm looking forward to more conversations in the work ahead. So, the future of CNU is clearly growing, and the student experience must grow with it. While this is true, there is no doubt uncertainty ahead from the national level. In small conversations rather than large discussions, several students may be worried about what the future holds for their support services on campus or future to attend college. We must continue to support all students and the efforts to maintain our services, such as our amazing care team in student affairs, support through scholarships, even spaces such as our multicultural student lounge. Let us engage with state partners such as the Constructive Dialogue Institute to continue to encourage students to participate in civil discourse in healthy ways as time develops. We know that our current students and those to come may have struggles within and outside of the classroom, but this idea of relationship building is the answer. Take my friend Savannah, who is very open with her story about CNU, as an example. She shares that when she first came to college, she struggled to understand what succeeding could look like and fell behind in her classes. She fell below to a 2.0, was put on academic probation, and struggled to feel fulfilled in her experience. She realized that she needed a change, but didn't know where to start, so she went to her professor. Through the care and kindness that her professor gave, she started using more CNU services and building relationships with others on campus to build her up. Now, she has over a 3.0, is a tour guide, serves in many organizations, and feels incredibly fulfilled in her experiences. Yet, Savannah is just one of many. These relationships support students when they're coming to college unprepared, but ready to take on the future that may seem so daunting. As time develops, let's not forget about the relationships that truly make our university unique. To end, I just want to thank everyone in this room. I thank you all for your engagement every day with my classmates and I. To the board, you have some of the strongest and most influential voices, and I ask that you continue to be wonderful and share the student need and experience of growth and preparation for whatever the future may hold. Sometimes larger institutions may have the stronger voice in the room, but CNU is special and should have a seat at every table because our story really is amazing from students. As I develop relationships with my fellow student body presidents from around the state, I recognize that they may not be as privileged to sit here and advocate for the student body or build relationships with people in this room. But as I say this is what CNU is all about. Caring for others and building relationships to create captains that will develop our world even more. So I thank you all for your continuous support, and I'm happy to have any conversations at any point, so thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie. Really appreciate that report. Are there any questions for Mackenzie? All right, well, thank you. It is so wonderful to always hear the student's perspective and how you and your colleagues on campus are able to fit in and find the services you need and thrive here. We too think CNU is a special place, so thank you. All right, now we're going to move on to our Faculty Senate report from Dr. Pawelka.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Rector, members of the Board of Visitors, good morning and a belated Happy New Year to you all. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the activities of my faculty colleagues and the work of the Faculty Senate. It's the fourth week of classes here as we get into February, and we are moving quickly into the spring 2025 semester. The first major course assignments are coming due, midterm exams loom on the horizon, and research projects that once seemed so far away are starting to creep up. I'd add that as our students are surely aware, and honestly many of my faculty colleagues are too, we are exactly 3 weeks from spring break. As hard as it is to believe, warmer weather, final exams, and the pomp and circumstances may be here before you know it. Now, as I thought about how I'd orient my remarks to the board today, I was reminded of the different rhythm of the academic year and how that is in comparison to the calendar year. Last month, many friends and family members were busy making resolutions for 2025. As a faculty member, that prompted me to reflect on the academic year so far. I mean, we started last August, it's now February, and 3 months from now it'll all be over but for the graduating. And much to my chagrin, but perhaps the relief of some folks on campus, my time as Senate President will be coming to an end. So I thought I'd take stock of the Senate's professed goals for the year and see where we are on the resolutions that we made 6 months ago. In the interests of both time and modesty, I won't say much about what we've accomplished to date. As you know, the Senate's worked hard to support the Strategic Compass effort. partner with President Kelly on university initiatives, advocate for academic affairs, empower faculty as leaders on our campus, and improve communications among my colleagues. I thought what I'd do instead is concentrate on a few resolutions that I would say are both incomplete as well as of particular relevance to you all. Every time I've spoken to you, I've said the Senate desires to strengthen the relationship between faculty and the board. In reflecting on this resolution, if you will, there's no doubt we've made good progress. We've added a faculty member to the Board of Visitors who's now joined subcommittees where her perspective can be most valued. We've had some informal social gatherings. The rector now meets regularly with the faculty senate president prior to board meetings. Heck, I even get invited to dinner the night before, which keeps me on my best behavior. Now, these may all seem like rather small steps, but I'll be the first to say that we've come a long way in removing the wall that has so long separated the faculty from the board. So please let me express my thanks to the current rector, the past rector, and President Kelly for helping to, as a German historian in me feels compelled to phrase it, tear down this wall. Channeling my Ronald Reagan. Anyhow, I think that there's more to do. Today, I would propose that there be a regular faculty board activity connected to every scheduled board meeting. The social's nice, and we should continue doing it. Why not have an annual lunch with a dozen faculty members to discuss their research? From conducting experiments at JLab to testifying before Congress to creating an oral history of our Shoe Lane neighborhood. My colleagues are involved in so many fascinating projects, the lunch hour would just fly by. What if we aligned PIDEA, our undergraduate research conference, with the April board meeting? This would allow board members to see firsthand the incredible research projects our students complete with their faculty mentors. How about a regular but rotating offering of classes for board members to attend? With the board's current late Thursday, early Friday format, there are multiple class visit opportunities on both days and a really long list of great classes. Why not have our arts faculty provide an annual guided tour of whatever fantastic new exhibitions in the Torque? Why not invite my STEM colleagues to host an opening tour or any tour of the new CERC building next year? We're so very lucky to have world-class facilities filled with brilliant and talented faculty right here on our campus. In short, I ask we formalize the faculty board connection, build it into the meeting calendar, and do something meaningful each and every time. The other resolution that I would like to revisit today has to do with the appointment of a faculty member to the CNU Real Estate Foundation Board. This is something that the Senate first raised in 2023 alongside a request for a faculty seat on the board of the CNU Education Foundation. I noted the Senate outlined this goal again in August 2024 and reaffirmed it at its most recent meeting just 3 weeks ago. As you may know, seating a faculty member on the Education Foundation board was quickly achieved last year. My thanks to Scott Miller for his engagement and support on this issue, along with the board and President Kelly. Despite my best efforts, a faculty seat on the CNU Real Estate Foundation is something that we've not yet accomplished. An unfulfilled resolution to stay on theme for the second year in a row. And to be clear, I understand that the Board of Visitors and the Real Estate Foundation are separate entities, but I'm confident that this resolution would enjoy a much higher probability of success if it had the explicit support of the board and President Kelly. As of now, I've yet to hear a compelling reason to continue to exclude faculty participation. The argument for a faculty representative, to my mind, is pretty simple. I made it last year by reinterpreting a sardonic comment made to me years ago. I was once rather dismissively told that faculty should only be included in places where decisions were made that affected them. I argued then, as I do now, that every committee, every budget, and every decision on this campus affects the faculty. And just as we heard in President Kelly's remarks a moment ago, the Real Estate Foundation makes a host of important strategic, economic, and financial decisions that have a large impact on all aspects of our university. Including faculty as partners the whole way through is not just good shared governance, it also produces a better result for everyone. Furthermore, the mission of the CNU Real Estate Foundation is to, quote, assist, support, and foster the mission of Christopher Newport University. It just so happens that supporting and fostering the mission of CNU is precisely what my faculty colleagues do every day, year in, year out, often for several decades. And as you've heard me say so often, academic affairs is the mission. That's why we're here. With that mission in mind, in the spirit of shared governance and inclusive excellence, and recognizing that my colleagues and I are truly captains for life, I ask once again for your support in having a faculty member appointed to this important role. So please allow me to conclude my remarks by once again expressing my gratitude to the members of the board for their service, my very much enjoy our interactions when we get together on campus, and have really enjoyed the chance to get to know some of you. As always, I thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Dr. Baraka, thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well, I want to thank you for all the time that you take working on behalf of the faculty. I truly enjoy our quarterly get-togethers and appreciate all of your suggestions and input and the representation of your colleagues. So thank you for that.
Sure thing.
Next, I'm going to turn to our Alumni Society report. I'm going to call on Nate Fontaine to give that to us.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Rector, and thank you, Board of Regents, for the opportunity to give you an update on some of the exciting things. I'm just excited to come down and it's not 30 degrees and cloudy and icy as we've had up in Northern Virginia. So getting out of the car today and it's 61 in the parking lot, it brings back some of that special feeling about CNU just because the weather's awesome, on top of seeing the student activities. But we've had some great progress since we last met. We had some very successful holiday parties, so thank you for those in the room who helped with those functions, but also for your attendance and others. They were very widely attended. And it was an opportunity to engage with the alumni community across the region here. The winter commencement was a huge success, so thank you for the university for bringing that back and the opportunities to celebrate those new captains for life, as well as some of the members who have come through the community captains program in that first cohort. So it was very exciting to celebrate them and those captains. It's when you get those students transferring to be a captain for life, the opportunity to get the full pomp and circumstance, it makes their journey a little more complete rather than asking them to come back in May. So thank you for making that happen once again. We've had some exciting work from the chapters. The DC Nova chapter continues to knock it out of the park. They have it sold out. The agreement with the Capitals game coming up soon, to the point where they now have co-branded merchandise with the Capitals. So if you did buy your tickets, you will also get co-branded merchandise with the Capitals hockey team logos, as well as the Christopher Newport captain on the same hat. So these type of opportunities allow larger venues. It's building us, for lack of a better term, street cred with these large venues to show that we can bring the alumni to the event. The Savannah Bananas game was a huge show in that. Rock the Boat events in DC have been huge for that, and now we're really excited to be able to take over a portion of the Capitol. I guess it's no longer the Capital One Arena now, but the Capitals Arena up in DC. The Peninsula chapter with the sold-out Muriel Millar Golf Classic this year. The Peninsula chapter was very gracious, and with the funds that they had coming in from there, their operating budget, they did add $32,000 to their scholarships to help students here at the university. So it was very exciting to have that opportunity, and see the programs continue to build to give back and continue that mission there. That was a huge effort by them. We'll be celebrating them a little later today. The football alumni chapter had a great tour of the new Traditions Brewing facility just around the corner about 2 days ago. So the football alumni chapter came down, very active group, but they did enjoy beers at the Traditions Brewery and a tour of the new facilities. For engagement, we did rise the engagement score with obviously Office of Alumni Relations and Baxter staff there. We're at about 12, just over 12% for alumni engagement. There are portions that have not been fully calculated yet, which include 124 different alumni speakers who have come back to the university this year to speak at different classes and different functions overall. We also have 94 members of the alumni who are in different boards and functions. So those numbers have not been calculated into that 12, just over 12% as we march on towards that 30% goal overall. We also have, as the president mentioned before, CNU Day, which is coming up. And I would like to continue to lay out the challenge. Only a few boards, might be one, happens to be 100% every year for CNU Day, the Alumni Society Board. So hopefully we can challenge you guys here to match that and have 100% participation this year as a Board of Visitors in CNU Day contributions there. But we're very excited to ramp that up. More news and information will be coming out on those platforms as well. Other exciting opportunities, we've continued to engage with the Career Development Center on the short-term high-impact projects. So we've been asking the Alumni Network to bring in ideas for internship programs and opportunities for individuals. We've restarted our Lunch and Learns, which are the YouTube series that we've been hosting. President Kelly and other members in this room have participated in those, and they walk students through different parts of life after graduation, or just updates on campus, or updates in alumni life. We now hit a milestone of we have 10 of those recorded and regularly produced and on our YouTube page as well. I do have the Alumni Society Board meeting right after this at noon. We are expanding our regional footprint as well with the creation of a new category of alumni below a chapter. With a chapter comes a lot of administrivia of managing accounts, managing budgets, managing minutes, managing the overall functions. So we're excited to continue to explore the opportunity of creating a club, which will allow people to informally gather to be able to start that creation of a chapter in the future. It's very difficult to start from an unorganized gathering of people and have them jump straight into the full administrivia of getting membership, getting the funds, getting a place where they can do a whole chapter. So the club model is going to be very exciting. I'm actually exploring opening a club in Loudoun County that would fall into the DC NOVA chapter as well. We have the Alumni Awards this year. In the past, it has been a reception with a few drink tickets. This year, we're trying to change the model and have it actually be a dinner reception to honor those folks a little more, have them hang out a little longer at the Alumni House. So if you do see that out there, those reception tickets will be available to bring people back to campus to celebrate all the amazing work the alumni do to continue to make the world a better place. We are also getting ready to kick off the announcements for the Alumni Awards as well as the Faculty Awards from the Alumni Society, and we'll be advertising our elections for new board members coming up as well. Tonight, we do have 100 days to turn the tassel, as was mentioned, so hopefully I'll see a few of you out there. And I believe, Madam Rector, that is my condensed report, and I'm here for any questions that you have. But thank you for the opportunity to update you on the great stuff we're doing.
Thank you, Nate. Any questions? Well, thank you so much. There's so much great work going on at all of the different chapters and so many exciting events, and really appreciate the work you're doing to keep our alumni engaged and supportive of the university going forward. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to turn to Mr. Pope for the Real Estate Foundation report.
Thank you, Madam Rector. Nice to follow these speakers. I guess we've got the dry work of the Real Estate Foundation. We don't currently own a brewery, so I can't invite everyone out to the brewery. However, I can announce that the Houndstown Doggy Daycare is open, so maybe we could all meet over there and bring our pets out and have fun on the lawn there in Highwood Shopping Center. Probably wouldn't have quite the attendance the football team had, the football alumni group had at the Tradition Brewery. I think quite a different event out there.
We can tour a few Heidenwoods. We can hit all the establishments.
Well, the Real Estate Foundation's last meeting was back last year in early December. And simple things we did was to renominate our leadership, with Mike Martin agreeing to continue as the president. For those of you who may know, Mike's got a long history with the university, and he agreed to stay on as president and to extend his term. If you don't know, at the Real Estate Foundation, we're like Congress. We don't have term limits, so we can be reappointed. And 3 of our members, Ann Honeycutt and Charles Warren and Mike Martin, agreed to re-up in spite of the fact they could have gone off the foundation. They agreed to stay on the foundation, so we appreciate that. In terms of governance, if you don't know who Doug Hornsby's with, he's been working with the Real Estate Foundation for many, many years. Wants to retire. We got him to go on a consulting contract. That ends this February. And we're transitioning that work to Stephen Mead, who was a member of our board. And he's decided or agreed to go off the board so he can continue to do the legal work for the Real Estate Foundation. And we thank him for that. In terms of operations, as I just announced, the Houndstown Doggy Daycare opened in January, so if you need someplace to take your dog when you're going on vacation, we got the spot. And we welcome those of you who need those facilities use the CNU facilities because it benefits this university. At CNU Village, unfortunately, we thought we had something going with American Family Care, healthcare facility right here. Unfortunately, those negotiations fell apart, and I got to announce that space is back available, and we're going to have to spend about $100,000 to renovate the space to make it more attractive to potential lease or lessees. But we're going to do that. The Harris Teeter fuel station is now essentially all finished, except for the permitting from the city of Newport News, which we're in the process of doing. And once again, that's going to get done now. It's been a long, long process of getting that done. I think it's going to get finished. Since the last meeting, we have purchased a long-standing negotiation with the Huffman Building across the street, next to the police, we're going to use, or the university is going to use that space to house the building and grounds people while we build a new warehouse. That'll be a space for those people. And after that, I guess it's up to the university and President Kelly what they want to do with that building, post that. And finally, as we reported in the last committee meeting, the Hydenwood, I call it the Hyden building, or the SunTrust building, is being torn down as we speak. It's being demolished. It looks like we're going to be on budget for that, have it done by the end of March. Turn it over to the university to make it a lot prettier space than it currently is right now. Our next meeting is next Tuesday on the 12th, so we'll be meeting. Brian, I did hear your comments about, I heard those pretty clearly, your comments about a faculty representative. We'll think about that. But in closing, I simply want to say that I know the Real Estate Foundation sits out there, no one knows what it really is. I just want to reassure this board that we understand our mission. And the mission of the Real Estate Foundation is not to lease properties and buy properties, it's to help this university. And so we work diligently to produce funds and excess funds over operating costs that we can turn around and give right back to this university so the president and the staff can use those monies as they see fit. And when they come to us with special requests, as President Kelly mentioned in his comments, we try to find the money. We try to find the money through the Real Estate Foundation to help this university accomplish what it wants to accomplish. And we understand that's our mission, not to be real estate tycoons around town. We're here to help this university. So with that, Director, I stand up to my report.
Great, thank you so much, Larry, really appreciate that. And we're going to have a full Real Estate Foundation report from Mike Martin in April, just wanted to confirm. So we'll have an opportunity there for him to provide a more detailed overview of what the foundation is doing, but really appreciate our board members that sit on the Real Estate Foundation and the Education Foundation giving us regular updates on highlights of what's happening in those meetings. So next, I will call on Ms. Meadows to give us an update on the Education Foundation.
Thank you, Madam
Can I
Director.
ask a quick
Oh, I'm
question?
sorry.
Yeah, so is there, tying these two threads from the Faculty Senate and the Real Estate Foundation, is there a constituency for or against having faculty representation on the real estate board? I mean, it seems like there must be somebody has an opinion, which is why it hasn't happened yet.
We
and I'm just
haven't
curious
really
what that is.
taken that issue up in any serious conversation. I've written it down. I don't know that we're particularly opposed to that.
Okay. Just didn't know which direction the currents were drifting.
Yeah, I definitely think that's something that, as Larry said, he's taken that down and they can have a conversation about.
We've got a meeting Tuesday.
Foundation.
Cool.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay, great. I'm sorry, Ms. Meadows, please
Thank
continue.
you, Madam Director. Reporting on the Education Foundation. We met last in November of 2024. It seems like forever ago. At that time, the Z Fund gave a detailed report on their portfolio and their activities. We had a report from Spencer McDonald on the financial statements as of September 30th, and the president also gave his update. In addition to that, we had Lo Roca-Bro which is the foundation's investment managers, present a deep dive into the investment portfolio. The returns on the investments were in line with benchmarks. I'm not going to really go into details now because they're 3 months old, but they were in line with benchmarks that we have set. Richard Long also gave an update for advancement activities, and the current goal at that time was $12 million, and as of November 14th, $10 million had been raised. So great efforts there. We had a new member being added to the board, Mark Beneker. He's an active on the Alumni Society and has also been president of the ASB. He's been appointed to the Education Foundation. We too are meeting in March, so next month, so we will get an update on investments and any other new activities at that time. Any questions?
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Meadows. Really appreciate that update. So we are now going to move into committee reports from yesterday and today. My apologies that I was not able to be with you all yesterday, but really appreciate all the great work that you all did. And again, this morning we had several committees, so we're going to move into the reports of those. I'll start with the executive committee. Materials can be found in section 10. The committee received an update on the progress of the mapping project being conducted by the Shoe Lane Task Force. We had good discussion and some very helpful recommendations from committee members, so appreciate the great work that Provost did and Dr. Ben and Pierre are all doing with that project. Additionally, we reviewed proposed changes to the board's bylaws. They have to be 2 reads for bylaws, and we went through the first one, so we'll do the second one in April. And we reviewed the university's strategic compass. I do again want to thank faculty and staff and the community and the board and everyone who has put a lot of time and effort into the strategic compass. I know it has been a very big project. Dr. Colvin has spent lots of time leading this effort, and just really appreciate the great work of folks here at the university. And so with that, I am pleased to bring forward Resolution 1, Christopher Newport University Strategic Compass 2025 to 2030. It comes at the recommendation of the executive committee. Is there any discussion or questions regarding the strategic compass? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to approve Resolution 1.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the resolution passes. Thank you so much. Lastly, I do have one item from the executive committee for closed session, but we'll take that up later in our agenda. At this time, I'd like to call on Vice Rector Tillett for the finance and facilities report. Chairman Tillett.
Thank you, Madam Rector. And I will move through this fairly quickly. I think everybody in the room was in the other room when we did this, but for those that weren't, let me give a little bit of a summary. First, we had a thorough report of what's happening in the Richmond area. Sarah's CFO report included an update of the allocation of additional funds in this current fiscal year. There was a preliminary discussion of the outlook for next fiscal year 26. Then there were 2 resolutions, one on accounts receivables considered uncollectible, and one on our annual SWAM, our Small Women and Minority Procurement Plan, plus our mid-year statement of revenues and expenditures. Without going into each one of those reports, let me just highlight a couple of things for the good of the order. We have very good news, 2 good news items regarding the current budget. First, the university recently allocated $2 million to various one-time items, ranging from IT infrastructure, scientific equipment, enrollment and marketing investments, a virtual augmented reality lab, the Humanities Institute, and others. This represented a welcome opportunity to advance these items and to also put us in a better structural position for next fiscal year, having not yet built this spending into the ongoing base budget. Regarding fiscal year 26, this week was a pretty big milestone for the state budget process. The next step will be even bigger when the short session, which we're in right now with the General Assembly, is scheduled to wrap up on February 22nd. The House and Senate had their respective debates on the committee's budgets yesterday. Next, a small group of conferees out of the House and the Senate will work to resolve the differences between the 2 versions, and then we'll send that to the governor once it clears the House and the Senate. The governor will then obviously have his opportunity to take a look at that relative to any amendments that he may wish to suggest to the conferee's report and final budget. It's good news that a combination of our priorities were included at this point. Our operations and maintenance for the Science and Engineering Research Center, planning for the replacement of the ROTC Military Science Facility, bridge funding for the Tech Talent Program, and other items, reflecting the time that was spent in Richmond to be well spent time in Richmond. It's not always the case, but at least this past year it has been. Still, anything can happen in the conference report, and we'll keep an eye on that as it moves forward. In addition, the planned 3% employee salary raises, both House and Senate also added a bonus to the mix. So that will be another item with cost implications for the E&G share and the full recovery of the auxiliary services area. Regarding the Virginia Military Survivors Program waivers, the $65 million per year statewide provided to institutions in 2024 special session to offset the foregone revenue is appreciated. But as JLARC has said, there is no evidence, and JLARC did a special report of this last year. There's no evidence that participation has peaked or will soon decline. Without policy changes, costs will continue to grow. Unless the state budget allocates ongoing dollars to keep up with that growth, we'll see revenue impacts shift back to the institutions. There is discussion ongoing in both budgets relative to additional funds in that area, but until the conference committee report is completed, we really don't know how that's going to play out long term. Both bodies included some additional operating funds and removed the governor's restrictions on tuition increases. We'll need to see what the whole conference report package looks like later this month. We also have a statutory requirement to hold the noticed public comment session on proposed tuition and mandatory fees range prior to our approval of the rates for next year. This meeting, and you are all welcome to come, will be held on Monday afternoon, March 17th, and then Madam Rector, Secretary Archer, and I will be in attendance at that meeting to hear the public hear any comments that may be put forward during that time. Our mid-year look at revenues and expenditures as of December 31st, 2024 shows that we are right on track, the same pattern as this time for last year, both on E&G and auxiliary. We also received from a capital project update from Chip Filer, and we've heard some of those already discussed by the president earlier. We're on target, we're on track with where we're going in both of those. And hopefully we will have an opportunity to visit some of those sites in the spring as we proceed on with additional activity in both of those areas. Turning now to the two resolutions. The first one is resolution number 2, and it's the cancellation of the accounts receivable considered uncollectible. We are, this time last year, we approved a $140,000 write-off, about 1/10 of the non-general fund revenue. This year, the amount is $44,690. So, Madam Rector, I would make that was a recommendation approved unanimously by the Finance Committee to the full board, and I would submit it for consideration.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Is there any discussion or questions on resolution number 2? All right, great. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 2?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Regarding the annual SWAM procurement plan, I'd like to acknowledge the good work of our Director of Procurement Services, Danielle Henley. Is Danielle here? She was at the Finance Committee meeting. Great work. She came on board at Christopher Newport University just 3 years ago and was instrumental in achieving the level 2 restructuring status that we've received based on several functional criteria. For fiscal year 2025, we're staying the course with an overall goal of 42%, which we have been able to achieve in recent years. The resolution is simply the approval of the annual SWAM goals. So, Madam Rector, this was recommended unanimously by the Finance Committee as well for approval by the board.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Is there any discussion regarding resolution number 3? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve resolution number 3?
So moved.
Great, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Chair Tillett, do you have any items for closed session?
I have none for closed session, but I would just say, looking ahead to our April meeting, we're going to consider tuition and fee, room and board rates for the 25-26 academic year, followed by the June meeting for the consideration of our operating budget. So we have a lot of work to do between now and the June meeting. We have meetings scheduled. We have to complete the activities of what is transpiring in the General Assembly, and incorporate that all into our operating budget going forward. Madam Rector, that concludes my report.
Great.
For the Finance Committee.
Thank you so much, Chair Tillett. I know we have a lot of work before us. I really appreciate your leadership there. At this time, I'd like to call on Secretary Archer for the Academic Affairs Committee report. Chairman Archer.
Thank you, Madam Rector. Committee met yesterday afternoon, Committee on Academic Affairs. You can find those materials supporting our discussion in Section 5 of Board Docs. We opened the meeting yesterday with a presentation from Dr. Kelly Rossum, who's a professor of jazz studies, and student Carrie Raderer, who is in the class of 2027. Dr. Waka, it's not the same as attending a class, but it's always nice for our committee to have a variety of insights into all of the different fields of study and what the students are doing here. So we include that as part of our agenda each month. And if you did have the opportunity to attend, it was a little different yesterday. We heard 2 trumpet duets from Dr. Rossum and Carrie. It was very interesting to listen to that and hear about what's going on in that particular area of study here at CNU. We did have a busy agenda yesterday. We had 6 resolutions for consideration by the committee. And what I'm going to do in the spirit of expediency here is we're going to I'm going to cover those in 2 blocks. Two of the resolutions were more administrative in nature, and 4 are related to faculty matters. So first, we're going to look at resolutions 5 and 6, which are primarily the administrative matters, and they are related to Resolution 5, creation of the Department of Economics, separating it from the Accounting and Finance organization and remaining in the School of Social Sciences. So that was resolution number 5. Resolution number 6 was renaming the Department of Accounting, Economics, and Finance to the Department of Accounting and Finance. And this was done in order to just, again, administrative matter and keeping in alignment with SHEV's compliance. So those were both recommended unanimous vote by the committee to the full board, which we will now submit for approval.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Is there a motion to approve resolutions 5 and 6 in a block? 5R and 6 in a block?
I'll move it.
Is there any discussion or questions?
So I have one question. With the separation of the econ, is there still an econ department in the School of Business? Or is econ just in social science?
There is not a Department of Economics in the School of Business, and there hasn't been since 2011-ish timeframe. We are going back. The reason this was characterized as administrative matter is we never took this resolution, a resolution like this, to SHEV when we created the separation, and we should have. And so, in consultation with SHEV, we basically were instructed, go and do it, and then bring it to us now. So there hasn't been an econ department in business for over a decade. There is economics taught in business, but the department itself is in the College of Social Sciences.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions?
Is that the right path we want to go? As an econ major, like we're a facet of business, and I don't want to rock the boat right now. That's not my intent. But if you were to ask the general public where is econ, where is finance, they would assume it's under business rather than under social science. And I'd love to get your thought on that.
And the only reason I brought that up is because they do 2 different things. He's an econ major in business school, talking about companies, economics. Economics and social sciences is talking about countries' economies.
Yeah.
So 2 different focuses.
So our econ department has both of those expertise in their faculty faculty who are more business finance oriented in their work do engage in classes in the business school. And then the other block of faculty in the econ department teach an economics major and an economics minor, and they contribute to the data science minor that we have, et cetera. So we have all of that represented in the econ department. But you're right about the difference between business-oriented economics and social science-oriented economics. We probably, in our faculty is probably 2/3 to 1/3 social science, more social science-oriented than business-oriented right now. And it has been that way for a decade and a half.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Great. All in favor to approve resolution 5R and 6 in a block? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Thank you. Chair Archer, do you have any items for closed session?
I have 4 more resolutions.
Yes, you do. Please continue.
So I would call your attention to resolutions 4, 7, 8, and 9, which again, we are bringing those to the board in a block. And I'll give a description of those. Resolution number 4 is an updated plan of compensation for new faculty hires that net reflects increases approved through Virginia General Assembly. Resolution number 7 relates to promotion of instructional faculty under the normal progression for a faculty member. Resolution number 8 was approval of tenure status for 5 eligible members of the faculty. And resolution number 9 was approval of the budget related to 27 faculty sabbatical leave requests for the 2025-26 school year for research, writing, other activities related to their fields of expertise. Again, the committee unanimously approved these resolutions and recommends them to the full board.
Thank you,
Oh, sorry,
Chair.
9R, I correct myself, I picked the nomenclature.
Thank you, Chair Archer. Is there a motion to approve resolutions 4, 7, 8, and 9R?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? Yes, Mr. Gates.
We had a discussion yesterday that I thought would be worth picking up a thread on, which is about the potential of the board having a half-day retreat at some point to talk about the bylaws that require us to address the things that we just voted aye on. It's my opinion, and I think it's shared by many of us, that some of those things fall well within the executive branch and not the executive branch advisor's position. And so I would like to, a lot of those things I think ought to be a president and provost decision. And if it takes us modifying our bylaws, I think we ought to consider doing that.
Question about resolution 4. Can you tell us what the current numbers on this are? So, for example, professor and distinguished professor, the authorized minimum would be for 25-26 academic year salaries, $80,000 minimum, $215,000 maximum. What is the current?
Under the resolution passed by the board last year, which is what we're operating under right now, the minimum does not change at the instructor level, so the lowest end, the maximum is 210,000.
210,000?
210,000.
Okay, so it goes up by 5,000?
Yeah.
And then for associate professor, does that also go up 5,000?
Those maximums are the same, actually.
Okay, so, perfect.
So I want to clarify, no change at the instructor, lecturer, assistant professor, associate professor, no change. One change at the distinguished professor, moving it from 210 to 215. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Mr. Gate, I think that's a fair point. This is something that comes up quite a bit, and I think we can set aside some time at a future meeting to kind of dig into that approval process.
Madam Rector,
Yes, sir.
one more quick question.
Uh-huh.
How many professor and distinguished professors do we have? And ballpark is fine if that's a.
I will tell you in just one moment.
I can tell you we have 5 distinguished professors.
Right.
5.
5 distinguished, I can tell you, tenured full professors are 55. 276 faculty, if you count the former president as one of the faculty, 275 budgeted faculty.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve resolutions 4, 7, 8, and 9R in a block. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
To answer your former question, we did not have any items for closed session, and this concludes the report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair Archer. Next. Okay. All right, next we are going to go down to the Operations Audit and Risk Report, and I'll call on Chair Meadows to provide that.
Thank you, Madam Rector. The committee has one resolution to come before the board that I'll present at the end of my report. Our committee met yesterday afternoon, and materials can be found in section 7 of board docs. First, we received a report from CIO Justin Davenport. Justin reported out updates on the ERP working group, sharing that the university is actively exploring options for the new ERP platform. A diverse working group representing key university stakeholders has been meeting regularly to define requirements, document current systems, and analyze future needs. This collaborative process has confirmed the need for a new platform to support the university's evolving business functions. Market research, including engagement with peer institutions and vendors, will continue this spring with a recommendation to the President and Chief of Staff by the end of the semester. Next, we heard a report from Shane Lejeune, Deputy CIO and Interim CIO, on security incident that happened in the fall of 2024. Shane reported on Thursday, December 12th, 2024, that the university activated its security incident response plan to respond to a sophisticated cybersecurity event. IT services began taking several steps to mitigate the attack, including engaging external consultants for remediation and recovery guidance. All users were forced to change their passwords and review multi-factor authentication details, and IT services has developed a plan for enhancing its information security program. A search for the new ISO is currently underway. You guys may have had to change your passwords yesterday when you came on campus. That's a result of this. The committee then received an internal audit report from the Director of Internal Audit, Kayla Faulkner. Kayla reviewed the status of management action plans from prior audits, specifically the endowed faculty professorships and slate. Kayla also shared the fiscal year 2025 internal audit work progress. The identity and access management audit fieldwork is complete and the report is being drafted. Planning is underway for the remaining audits, and Kayla is coordinating with the management group on timing and scope. Co-sourcing is also being considered for the accessibility ADA audit. Kayla also reported that the recruitment for a staff auditor is underway. The Auditor of Public Accounts has started their fiscal year 2024 financial statement audit and will likely present their findings at the June 2025 committee meeting. The spring risk assessment process is beginning. Input is being gathered from a broad range of university stakeholders with the proposed fiscal year 26 audit plan to be presented at the June meeting. The committee then heard an update from Chip Filer on recent fire inspections and was pleased to report there were no findings from those inspections. Lastly, we heard from Ashley Andrews, who presented a resolution for the emeritus status. Resolution 10, which can be found in section 7F, recommends the award of administrative Professional Faculty Emeritus status for Yvonne Clark. This award is for employees who have served the university with distinction and retired with 10 or more years of service. Madam Rector, I present Resolution 10 to the board for action.
Thank you so much, Chair Meadows. So Resolution 10, Award of Administrative and Professional Emeritus Status comes at the recommendation of the Operations Audit and Risk Committee. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, is there a call, is there a motion to approve Resolution 10?
So moved.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Thank you. Chair Meadows, do you have any items for closed session?
I do not have any items for closed session.
Great, thank you so much. At this time, we will move down to the student life report. Chair Robinson.
Thank you, Madam Rector. I'll talk a little bit about the Office of Admissions. As President Kelly mentioned, we received a record number of freshman applications for the fall 24 cohort with over 9,000 already submitted. A number of the new initiatives and reinvestments in student recruitment over the past 18 months have contributed to the results. The Office of Admission and the Committee on Student Life would like to thank President Kelly and Chief of Staff Latour for their leadership in regard to this work. The main focus this time of year is on admitting student yield. Between now and May 1st, National Enrollment Verification deadline, when students must commit to their college of choice. 13 on and off-campus events are scheduled for the semester alone, with emphasis on this effort. Additional one-time funds earmarked for marketing and advertising to impact admitted student yield have bolstered the Office of Admissions' capacity to collaborate with the Office of Communications, Public Relations on multifaceted campaigns. So a lot of work is being put into trying to increase our yield from the students that have been offered admission. In the Division of Enrollment, Student Success, and Institutional Effectiveness, enrollment continues to be slightly above slightly above the time last year. Fall to spring retention rates are 94%, higher than the national average. And then also, as President Kelly talked about, we have 4 of our community captains graduate from the program in 3.5 years. We have others that will be graduating in May, and 1 possibly graduating a year early. Wow. So that's a lot of success coming through that community captain program. We've enrolled 77 new transfer students as of the first day of this semester. That's a 20% increase over last spring. As you heard President Kelly state earlier, this team enrolled more new transfer students this year than in recent history, with a total of 259 new students. And those students coming in with strong academic qualities with an average transfer GPA of 3.3. The team continues to establish key transfer agreements with the Virginia Community College system. Let's see. Activities in the Career Center have been heavy last semester, with nearly 1,200 students appointments, which is a 9% increase over last year. This team received $150,000 from SCHEV. That's a grant to support internship development. We also had 2 students speak to us yesterday about their experience with internships, which was extremely powerful to hear how that program is advancing. CNU is the 7th in the nation for internships, which is pretty interesting. Then I'll go to the Division of Student Affairs. And so some of the data that we're receiving right now is that we're across the board, we're up in all ways we support students for the fall of 2024. Fall 24 clinical data shows that 17% increase in the number of student clients and a 43% increase in the number of clinical appointments attended by students. Try not to repeat a lot of different things that we have before. Okay, so the RAs were intentionally tasked with checking on over 400 students and there was a 190% increase in the number of roommate mediations over the previous year. So some of the things we're seeing, you know, we talk about students coming in and not being prepared, and it's not just academically prepared, it's also being prepared to interact with other students and peer-to-peer relationships, things that they're not as well prepared coming into the university. So there's no quick answer to how we fix that, but there are different methods that are being pursued. And then finally, I'll talk about, there's two pieces of challenging legislation that have been passed, or if passed, will directly affect our students. And that's House Bill 1805, which requires university to accept students' IEP, high school student IEP for purposes qualifying someone for disabled. And so the IEP basically stands for Individual Education Program. And so when that was done, and I could have Kevin talk to that a little bit more, but that House bill was passed without any consideration of Christopher Newport. So we weren't asked. It was basically one of the programs that they were looking at some of the bigger universities, Virginia Tech, JMU, UVA. So that's just something that we have some concerns about. And then also Senate Bill 1257, which requires RAs to be trained in the use of opioid antagonist medicine. So basically, we're talking about Narcan. And that's very concerning, that that's an additional responsibility that we will be placing on RAs. And in our committee, some of our concerns were, one, we're now asking them to make an assessment, making a medical assessment on whether someone needs Narcan or not. And that's pretty concerning for us. So those are two bills that if you have some influence in Richmond to communicate some of the concerns that we have. Madam Rector, that concludes my report, and I have nothing for closed session.
Thank you so much, Chair Robinson. Does anyone have any questions? Chair?
Madam Rector, I would just comment that I was fortunate to be able to attend the winter graduation, and I was not aware that until attending that's not something that has occurred for many years and it's being re-implemented. I strongly support the continuation of that. It was a wonderful event. It's much different than the spring graduation. It's a smaller group, but it's very well attended. Ferguson was packed. Kind of boisterous actually, but being able to watch those students individually get their diplomas, it was fun to be a part of, and I think meant a lot to those students to get that recognition at that time of the year. So, great event. Strongly encourage that it be continued.
I couldn't agree more.
No, I agree with that. I think 3 years ago I spoke at the December, and it wasn't a graduation. It's more of it was very informal, and it turned into kind of a party atmosphere at the end. And it was not what a graduation looked like in the past. So I'm really happy that that's something that we brought back. I think the kids that are graduating in December deserve to have the same type of pomp and circumstance as the May graduation. So good on President Kelly.
And it was about 30 degrees cooler, I might add, so that was a
Yeah,
nice little
you
plus.
didn't have to sweat in December, right? No.
That is true. No, it was a great event, and I'm so glad that we're doing that, and look forward to it continuing, moving forward, and especially the opportunity to celebrate our community captains and the excitement of the first cohort coming through was fantastic. Also, really appreciate all the great news around applications and the good work that the teams are doing to help increase that yield number. But a lot of great news in the report, so thank you so much for that, Chair Robinson. Now I'm going to turn it over.
Excuse me, Madam Rector. I just wanted to share one of the things that came up in the conversation that I think really we need to be aware of and communicate to our legislators is that from just doing a little research a few minutes ago and last night, there are some real negative occurrences to someone giving Narcan to to someone who has an alcohol overdose. And if we were taking RAs who are not medically trained and they make the wrong call, if it's another drug, there's a different impact, but with alcohol, there could be some significant poisoning. So I don't know if they're taking that into consideration. And I just did a very quick review, but I would think that would be something we want to communicate to the legislators that are looking to support this, where you have RAs. Like I said, that was, to me, it was highly concerning. Because you're taking people who are not trained in medicine and they're giving.
That's what I said about making an assessment. They're making a medical assessment when they have no training.
Yeah, it's a 20-year-old RA who might not know the difference between an opioid overdose and an alcohol overdose.
So I appreciate that, and I'll share that, there are a lot of conversations going on right now. I think there are some schools that I don't think have the same concerns, and so, the conversation continues.
Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion points before we move on? Thank you so much. We will now go to the athletics report, and I'll call on Chair Freeland to give that report to the committee, or to the board.
Thank you, and I apologize for the change in order. The Committee on Athletics met yesterday, and over the course of the hour together, we learned a lot of things and covered a lot of ground. We do not have any resolutions to bring forward to the board today. We did begin our committee meeting by hearing from Senior Rihanna Slater, who has played on the women's Lord have mercy, soccer team for the past 4 years and will graduate this spring. Rihanna spoke about how powerful her experience has been as a member of the women's soccer team, but also how it has played a large role in shaping who she is today, both on and off campus, and the level of competition that they were able to play through the strong support of the university and the athletic teams, because they were able to travel all across the country and really play at some high quality competition level. Kyle McMullen, our Director of Athletics, then provided a brief overview on the student athletic academic success from this fall semester. And I think we can all say that we were very, very proud to hear how well the student athletes continue to do. They have a GPA that exceeds that of the non-athletes, and a lower percentage of student athletes ended up on semester academic probation than the non-athletes. So we continue to be very pleased with the way that they are succeeding in the classroom as well as on the courts and fields. Kyle also shared with us a high level of success enjoyed competitively during the fall, including the women's soccer team advancing to the national semifinals, field hockey to the national quarterfinals, and volleyball to the Sweet 16. Winter sports are also excelling with both men's and women's basketball in the top 15 nationally and poised to compete in the NCAA tournament. Spring sports are underway as well, with 6 teams beginning their seasons nationally ranked, and as they begin competition in the next 2 weeks, activity throughout the department will be at its highest peak for any time during the year. I think Kyle mentioned that they don't know whether or not they're coming or going at times during the spring. We also discussed the university's efforts to utilize athletic events as strategic engagement opportunities, including receptions, and I'm not going to go into that because I know that President Kelly highlighted that in his report, but we will throw in one more time the upcoming trip to Spain for men's basketball. That just seems worthy of a second mention. Kyle also shared with some eye-opening statistics that demonstrate the incredible commitment to excellence that our coaching staff has here at CNU. He shared that out of our 17 head coaches, 12 of them have been in their role at CNU for 10 or more years. Of the 5 that have not, all but 1 have been at CNU for at least 10 years in another capacity and have now moved into a head coaching role. Additionally, 5 of the university's head coaches currently ranked among the top 10 all-time in Division III in career winning averages. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. Our challenge is unique here at CNU in that we have a highly committed group of coaches who are some of the most successful in the entire country. The university's focus needs to be in continuing to find ways that ensure they can all see a path to continued growth and championship caliber success. We ended with a brief update from Kyle on membership updates in the C2C conference. He had good news to share that the good work of President Kelly and he have been doing have resulted in the addition of Johnson & Wales Charlotte. We also talked briefly about a handful of the NCAA legal challenges that have been going back and forth and are getting a lot of attention in the national media. So it was a very comprehensive report, and it was one that I think really showed all of us on the committee the great things that are being done that we don't necessarily see and hear about all the time, specifically with the coaches' commitments, but also how well they are performing as students. I think that was so refreshing to hear. So at that time, that concludes my report.
Great, thank you so much, Chair Breland. Appreciate a wonderful report. And we are all excited to learn more about Spain and Vermont and all of the wonderful athletic opportunities coming up for our students.
Has the board been invited?
Yes.
With that, I would now like to turn to Chair Lawson to give the University Advancement Report.
Thank you, Madam Rector. We began the Advancement Committee, as we always do. We all like examples of the power of philanthropy. First, Dean Jana Adamitis told us about she's Dean of Humanities and Arts, about the power of the Ferguson Center and the Torgler Center of how they affect faculty, student, and staff, but also the community and how it ties the community to CNU. We had very unique in a lot of the presentations that come through those two fine facilities, and it's very powerful. Next, we had a student, Claire Vivian, who was a music major. She's a junior, who told us about the problems she had in her family, the fact that she's working 2 jobs, that she has 4 scholarships. Her father recently passed, and that she couldn't be the student and as productive as she is today without the scholarship help. She has over a 3.5 average, and she's a junior. And hearing the real life examples enforces how much philanthropy is a part of what we need to focus our attention on. So, March the 12th is CNU Day. We've got a campaign coming up. We talked about the details of what a successful campaign needs to do. And it starts with 100% board participation. So you don't forget it. Do it on CNU Day. Give to a stretch, but to your ability. It's important that every single board member, because if we find potential donors will ask that question: is your board fully committed? And if you can't say that they are, that's a problem. That concludes my report. No, we do not need to go into closed session for advancement.
Great. Thank you so much, Chair Lawson. Really appreciate that. At this time, we will take a 5-minute break, and when we return, we will move into closed session for those items that we do need to cover.
So it looks like
Yeah, I
Horse Race Day
understand.
is. So, daughter's
both of
final
us,
last year.
he took the advance, and I went over to student.
And now looking at that,
There's
so.
no way I can.
Can you imagine?
But I mean.
Of course, the Dutch got a little bit tapped more, leads and bayonet guns to locally. This 5-minute break is really kind of stressing out.
I'm trying to get you out of here.
All right, I'm gonna find it. We go to the rest of you. Sean, it is good to see you.
How you been, man?
Yeah, been good. Missed you yesterday at the free dinner.
Yeah, I had an executive meeting at work.
Oh, good, good.
How you been?
And I'm basically in the air more than I'm in the.
Oh, wow.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
Christy
yeah.
can.
I haven't told my wife yet.
Christy can read us.
Christy can read it, it's fine, it doesn't, they have done.
And then he's scripted for bringing them back into open.
Yeah, very well. I really appreciate that.
Are we still live streaming right now?
So I'm staying, but they.
He will cut the live stream when we go into closed session.
Oh, I got you.
But when we're in open session of full board, it's the requirement to.
Some of these things.
I don't have.
But really,
No, I just wanna know.
it's Nolan.
Right.
Well, now we're waiting on Nolan.
I gotta read that thing.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not an investment
Where is
person.
he?
He went to Bath, he ran back.
I love raising money.
So I'm like.
We're here, but we're.
Well, and I hesitate to bring this up.
We're gonna get, additional gavels for committee chairs so that instead of dinging on a glass, you can also gavel around, you know. So for you committee chairs,
Yeah.
that's right, coming into the April meeting.
Somebody really brings it down.
Yeah, it was a snap the top of the thing.
Can I use it at the
Right, so I
country?
just
club?
sent you the re-entry.
No, we're gonna keep
Where's
it.
that email?
I'm sending it right
Hey,
now.
can I use it at the country club?
Sure. So, yeah, we're having a hammer. Because the hammer also fixes everything. You two stop talking.
It's no fun that way.
That's what's flag.
I hit you, gavel.
Oh, thank
Which
you.
I mean, it's pretty successful.
Nobody listens to it.
No matter how long it's done. Right. So if you don't figure out all your old things, like they go right.
He's
Oh, wait, no,
Well, no, not yet, I'm sorry, we have to call, we have to go.
Oh,
We're still live streaming at the moment, but you gotta call for.
I was too proactive.
You are wonderful, Penny.
In your annotated agenda.
I second that.
She's an incredible liar.
I was like, this one.
And so, and we've been doing for that. She's, well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. I said, well, the country is run by the Constitution. It's been there for 249 years. And what a pretty big country.
Welcome back. I would like to entertain a motion to enter closed session under the Code of Virginia 2.2-3711, personnel for the purpose of discussing
feedback on it between now and you know, the end of next week? End of next week?
They prefer Monday.
Prefer Monday? Okay, Wednesday would be great. If you can get it into us by Wednesday of next week, that'd be awesome.
Madam Rector,
Whereas the Board of Visitors of Christopher Newport University has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Board of Visitors that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Visitors of Christopher Newport University hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Board of Visitors.
Ms. Dale, please poll the board.
Mr. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Ms. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Estrada?
Yes.
Dr. Gade?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Meadows? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Director Morton?
Yes.
Mr. Pope?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yep.
Mr. Tillett?
Yes.
Dr. Breland?
Yes.
Mr. Whittle?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any new business to come before the board? If not, thank you all so much for attending and for your dedication to the board. Upcoming dates and events, our next full board meeting is April 24th and 25th. I'm excited to share that at that board meeting, we will have Stephen Moray, President and CEO of the Strata Education Foundation, join us. And talk
So what's
about
the name of his?
I'm sorry?
What's the name of his foundation?
Strata.
Oh, not Estrada.
Oh, no. Close. Strata Education
He's thinking
Foundation.
lawsuit right there.
I think Strata Education.
Talk about, some of the great work they're doing with the State Opportunity Index and employment outcomes after graduation. I think it'll be a good presentation and discussion opportunity for the board. Additionally, please mark your calendars for spring commencement, May 17th. Board members and cabinet, for those of you who are able to join us for lunch, so excited. We're gonna be having lunch today in the Regattas Dining Hall in the David Student Union, so we can have lunch with some of our student ambassadors. The 2025, the February 2025 meeting of the Board of Visitors of Christopher Newport University is now adjourned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.